We spend a huge chunk of our lives in school, more than a decade on average. In the US, that's often K through 12, 13 years of learning history, science, literature, and math. We're taught how to write an essay, solve for X, and label the parts of a cell. And our education system, for all its strengths, often seems designed to make us excellent employees, efficient consumers, and productive members of the economy. It gives us a map to build a career. But what happens when that career feels empty? What do you do when you get the things you were told you should want, only to find there's a hollow echo where fulfillment should be? And what about the moments in life no textbook could ever prepare you for? The sudden loss of someone you love. The quiet dread of loneliness in a world that's supposed to be hyper-connected. That slow, creeping feeling that you're just navigating life without a compass, without a real sense of who you are or where you're going. We get a blueprint for a profession, but we don't get the tools for the art of living. This is the great unspoken gap in our modern education. We're trained for the marketplace, but left totally unprepared for the messy, monumental business of just being human. And so many of us are left with this nagging feeling that there has to be more than this. We build these impressive lives on the outside, while quietly wondering if we missed something essential. And the worst part? We think we're the only ones who feel this way. But what if the answer isn't some new age trend or a quick fix life hack? What if the secret to the wisdom we're all craving has been waiting for us for thousands of years, hidden in plain sight? Let's be honest. We have access to more information than any generation in history, yet we're arguably one of the most overwhelmed. We carry supercomputers in our pockets with access to a staggering amount of human knowledge. But that fire hose of information often leaves us feeling more anxious than enlightened. We're facing a constant barrage of news about global crises, political divides that turn neighbors into strangers, and the curated perfection of social media that fuels a relentless and losing game of comparison. We're suffering from a strange set of modern problems. We have more choices than ever: what to watch, what to buy, who to be, and yet we can feel paralyzed by the sheer volume of it all, a condition some experts call choice overload. We're more connected digitally, yet we keep seeing widespread reports of rising loneliness and social isolation. We see the world's big problems, from climate anxiety to social injustice, and we feel this profound sense of powerlessness, like a tiny boat tossed on an enormous, indifferent sea. Our education taught us how to absorb facts, but not how to find meaning in them. It taught us how to debate, but not how to build dialogue and find common ground. It taught us what to think, but not how to think, how to build a stable inner foundation, how to cultivate resilience, how to tell truth from noise, and how to answer the questions that echo in the quiet moments. Who am I really? What's my purpose? And how do I live a good life? A life of meaning and integrity in a world that feels so chaotic. This isn't a failure of intelligence, it's a failure of equipment. We were given an advanced operating system, but no user manual. We were taught the physics of sailing, but never taught how to navigate by the stars. This is the gap that leaves so many of us feeling adrift. We sense the tools we were given just aren't enough for the journey we're on, and so we search. We look for something more, something that can be an anchor in the storm, a compass for the soul. The secret isn't really a secret, it's philosophy. Now, I know for many people, that word, philosophy, brings up a specific image. Maybe you're picturing a dusty classroom, a dense book you can't get through, or a debate over abstract questions that have nothing to do with your real life. The way it's often presented today, philosophy can seem like a purely theoretical exercise. But that's a modern misunderstanding of a very ancient tradition. In the ancient world, for many of the great schools in Greece, Rome, and the wisdom traditions of the East, philosophy wasn't just a subject you studied, it was an art of living. It was a practice. It was something you did. The word itself, philosophia, means love of wisdom, and this wasn't a passive appreciation. It was an active, passionate pursuit of a better way of being. For thinkers like the Stoics, Epicureans, and Platonists, The point wasn't just to have interesting ideas, it was to become a better human being. It was a quest for self-transformation. Their schools weren't just lecture halls, they were like gyms for the soul. They used spiritual exercises, practices like self-reflection, meditation, and dialogue, all designed to shape and remake the self. Philosophy was seen as therapeutic, meant to heal the soul from the anguish of fear, anxiety, and ignorance. It was about closing the gap between what you believe and how you actually live. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself in his private journal, in a line that's often paraphrased as, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This is the secret, that philosophy isn't about having all the right answers, but about learning to ask the right questions. It's not about memorizing theories, but about weaving timeless principles into the fabric of your daily life. It's a practical toolkit for navigating the human condition. And that approach is just as relevant, if not more so, today than it was 2,000 years ago. It offers a direct response to the overwhelm, the confusion, and the search for meaning that defines our modern lives. So, what does it actually mean to practice philosophy as a way of life? It means going on a journey of integration. It's about bringing the different parts of your life into a coherent, meaningful whole. In our work as volunteer students and instructors of philosophy, we often see how modern life forces us into fragments. We have our work self, our family self, and our online self. We separate our intellectual life from our emotional life, and our professional goals from our personal ethics. We live in compartments. Living philosophy is the art of tearing down those walls. It's about building a life where your actions line up with your values, where your thoughts are in harmony with your feelings, and where your daily life is connected to a bigger sense of purpose. It's the difference between analyzing Aristotle's arguments about virtue and actually trying to be a more virtuous person yourself. This path of integration rests on a few core pillars that we explore in our school. First, it starts with self-knowledge. The ancient maxim, "Know thyself," isn't just a nice suggestion. It's the starting point for all wisdom. This means looking past the superficial labels the world gives you, your job title, your social status, and starting the work of discovering who you are at your core. It's about observing your own thoughts, understanding your emotional patterns, and figuring out the fundamental values you truly want to live by. Second, it involves the comparative study of the world's great wisdom traditions. At New Acropolis, we believe that no single culture has a monopoly on wisdom. The search for truth, goodness, and beauty is a universal human quest. So, we draw from the timeless insights of both East and West, from Plato's logic and Stoic ethics to the insights on inner peace from the Bhagavad Gita and the compassion of Buddhist teachings. By looking at these diverse sources, we start to see the common threads, the universal principles that speak directly to our shared human experience. This encourages a love of wisdom that is open, eclectic, and free from fanaticism. Third, and most importantly, living philosophy demands practice. A good philosophy should work like a compass. It gives you a direction and helps you correct your course when you wander off. This isn't about being perfect. It's about the daily effort of trying to be a little better, a little more conscious, a little more courageous. It might be practicing mindfulness to stay centered during a stressful meeting. It might be choosing to have a difficult conversation with empathy instead of anger, or it could be dedicating time to service, to contribute to something larger than yourself. It's the thousands of small, intentional choices that, over time, transform who you are and how you live. This is the work of turning abstract ideas into a lived reality. This brings us to the most empowering part of this whole thing. You are the protagonist of the story. In the academic model, the philosopher is always someone else, some historical figure you study. In the model of philosophy as a way of life, the philosopher is you. You're the one being asked to answer life's big questions. It's your life that becomes the laboratory, and your experiences that become the material for discovery. This is a radical shift in perspective. It means wisdom isn't something you just receive. It's something you actively build, and it completely reframes life's challenges. Suddenly, a difficult boss isn't just a source of stress. They're an opportunity to practice patience. A period of uncertainty isn't just a crisis to get through, it's an invitation to clarify your values and find that inner compass. A political disagreement isn't just a cause for division. It's a chance to practice listening and seek understanding. The practice of philosophy gives meaning to the struggle. It turns life's obstacles into the curriculum for your own growth. In our experience at our school, we see this transformation in people from all walks of life. We see busy professionals find a new sense of purpose that goes beyond the next promotion. We see young people, overwhelmed by social media and an uncertain future, develop a strong inner anchor of confidence and self-awareness. We see people of all ages learn to connect with others on a deeper, more authentic level, building communities based on a shared search for what is good and true. This journey isn't about finding easy answers. In fact, it usually starts by embracing how hard the questions are. It's about cultivating the courage to live with uncertainty, the humility to know you don't have it all figured out, and the discipline to keep searching, learning, and growing. This work isn't easy, but it is so rewarding. It's the path to a life that doesn't just look good on the outside, but feels good, feels right on the inside. It's how you build a life of genuine fulfillment, not just a life of achievement. This journey, while personal, isn't one you have to take alone. In the ancient world, philosophers gathered in schools like Plato's Academy, not just to study, but to support each other on the path. They understood that community is essential for growth. It's in dialogue with others, and sharing our struggles and insights, that our own understanding deepens. This is the spirit we try to revive here. We are a school of philosophy in that classical tradition, a school for life. We're an international nonprofit organization in more than 50 countries around the world, including US cities like Chicago, Boston, and more. And our school is animated by volunteers. Our instructors are students of philosophy themselves, people who are on the same journey and are passionate about sharing the tools they've found to be transformative in their own lives. We aren't gurus or enlightened masters, we're fellow searchers. Our work is built on 3 pillars: philosophy, culture, and volunteering. We study philosophy as a practical path to wisdom. We engage with culture, art, music, history, science, to broaden our horizons. And we practice volunteering, putting our ideals into action through social and ecological projects that serve the community. This commitment to service is a core part of our training, reminding us that wisdom isn't just for our own benefit, but for the benefit of the world. It's about developing our potential so we can be an active, conscious force for good. The real aha moment comes when you realize that this way of living is actually possible. It's the realization that you have the power to change your life from the inside out. The transformation is a shift from being a passive passenger, carried along by the currents of culture, to becoming the active captain of your own ship. You learn to navigate with clarity, to build authentic relationships, and to find inner peace, even when the seas of life are rough. You discover a quiet strength inside you that doesn't depend on what anyone else thinks. We've talked about the gap in our education, the forgotten art of living philosophy, and the path that allows us to build a life of meaning. But true to the spirit of practical philosophy, this can't just stay an idea, it has to be an invitation. If this search for a deeper wisdom resonates with you, if you feel that pull for something more than what the daily grind offers, then I invite you to take the next step. Our introductory course is designed as a starting point, a place to explore these foundational ideas from the world's great wisdom traditions and see how they apply to your life. You don't need any background in philosophy, just a curious mind and a genuine desire to grow. You can visit our website to find a new Acropolis center near you and learn more about our courses and activities. And if you found this conversation valuable, please subscribe for more explorations into practical philosophy. The secret to wisdom they don't teach in school is this: the most important subject you will ever study is yourself. The most important project you will ever work on is your own life. And the most important journey you will ever take is the inner journey from who you are now to who you have the potential to be. It's a lifelong journey, but it's one you can start today. It begins with a single question, a single choice to seek, to learn, and to live with intention. Trust that feeling that you're looking for something deeper. That is the philosopher within you, calling you to begin.